So you've bought your bullion, you're very excited, but you need to answer a very important question, and that's how do I store this stuff? Here at Bullion Now, we've dealt with everything from buried in a backyard to in high security vaults. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the options when it comes to storing your precious metals. Before we continue, a quick disclaimer. With all methods of storage, there are components of risk involved, and please allow this to just serve as one piece of information that you can add to your research. We encourage you to complete all of your own research and do your due diligence when dealing with your own precious metals. Without further ado, let's continue. Often when we're discussing the storage of precious metals with our clients, at home in a safe is a popular option for a number of people. Now that has some advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, if you're stacking something like silver, you need to bear in mind that as your stack grows, so too does your storage requirements. So for some people, a simple at-home safe may not be the most practical option. Now, often when we're talking about storage of precious metals in safes, a common question is, hey guys, which kind of safe should I buy, and do you have any particular brand recommendations? Whilst we don't get specific with brand recommendations, there are a few things that you should give careful consideration to when looking at acquiring a safe. 1. Stay away from the bottom end of the market. We've seen so many dodgy safes that provide little to no protection of your precious metals. 2. Give consideration to severe temperatures. Recently, we put a safe to the test which was rated as fire safe. However, it was from the low end of the market, and as you may see in the video, it didn't hold up so well when we put it to the test. 3. Consider what the function of a safe actually is. More often than not, the function of a safe is to slow down a would-be thief rather than stop them in their tracks entirely. Consider the rating of the safe that you're looking at. That's a measurement of time, which is generally used as an indicative timeline as to how long it would take a would-be thief to gain access to your safe. Storing your precious metals at home has a number of advantages. Firstly, you'll hear a common expression in the stacking community, which is that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And here in Bullion Now, we're big advocates for the idea of taking full control over your stack. Another advantage to the storing at home method, if you're anything like me and you appreciate a beautiful coin design, at a moment's notice, you can go get access to your coins and take a look at them and appreciate them in hand. Similarly, another advantage to storing your stack at home is if in the event that you require immediate access to your precious metals, you can grab them and go at a moment's notice without any third-party involvement. Now, it's interesting to note that despite all of this upside, which sounds great, that upside can also be the single greatest downside, and that is that you are solely responsible for the storage, security, and protection of your precious metals. Now, if you're security oriented and you've got an eye for that type of thing, that could be a great advantage. However, if you're less experienced and not comfortable with storing high value items at home, it can be quite concerning and a little difficult for some people to navigate, and we encourage you to give careful consideration to this option if it's something that you want to explore further. Next up on our list, which may come as no surprise given that this here is Bullion Now, is storing your precious metals with your chosen dealer. Here at Bullion Now, in addition to offering 3 months of free storage, beyond that we can also continue to store your precious metals. However, there are fees associated with that, which should be factored in when making an informed decision regarding the storage of your precious metals. One of the major advantages to this option is your stack is fully insured and you have the added protection of our security systems. In contrast to the home storage method, you're limited to the trading hours of your bullion dealer in terms of accessing your stack. So if you have an interest in looking at your bullion coins and bars at 3 o'clock in the morning on any given day, this may not be the most practical option for you. Up next, we have secure dedicated storage vaults. Much like Bullion Now, it provides an added level of security and assurance in terms of storage. However, it's worth noting that in unique circumstances, such as a global pandemic, stores like Bullion Now were considered an essential service and we were able to continue our operations. However, a number of dedicated storage facilities were not able to provide access to their clientele. Something else that's very important to bear in mind when it comes to storage of your stack is who you tell. Now, this might seem like an obvious thing, but it's very important in terms of secrecy that you don't go around promoting the fact that you have precious metals and where it is that you're storing them. At the same time, it's important that you at least tell someone that you know and trust, like a family member or a close friend, because in the event that something were to happen to you, it's important that someone can still gain access to your precious metals. So ultimately, you need to find the balance that works for you between retaining your privacy and secrecy surrounding your precious metals and also having someone that you know and trust be able to access them. Now that we've touched on what I would describe as some of the more conventional storage options of precious metals, let's take a look at what I would describe as perhaps less conventional options. After a number of years in the industry, you can imagine that we've heard some very interesting storage locations. This ranges from buried in a state forest, buried in the garden. Some people even paint their bars and use them as doorstops. But perhaps one of the most interesting and out there storage solutions we've heard of is people actually building their stack into the concrete foundation of their homes. Although I think it's worth noting that that would be a little difficult to access at a moment's notice. It's important to bear in mind that when exploring any of these quirky and unique methods of storage, that you still maintain total responsibility for your precious metals stack. That is to say, bear in mind, if you are burying them somewhere, it's not in a location that's going to be easily discovered. Similarly, you don't want it to be so hard to locate that even if you tell a close relative or loved one where your stack is, that they will be unable to locate it. It's also worth noting that regardless of how you choose to store your precious metals, I always encourage people to consider a location which is cool, dry, and out of direct sunlight. This is to minimize any potential environmental damage which could impact any of your collectible coins. That is to say, coins that have a value beyond the intrinsic bullion content. Putting aside collectability for a moment, one of the great advantages to both gold and silver is that when selling back to a bullion dealer, the condition of your coins or your bars is not actually a factor at all. Here at Bullion Now, we would pay the same price for a brand new bar in a shrink wrap package as we would a bar that's been dug up in the backyard, still covered in dirt. Although please, clean your bars before you bring them in. It's important to bear in mind that everyone's circumstances are unique and there is no one size fits all when it comes to storage of precious metals. So we encourage you to go away, do some of your own research and come up with a solution that suits you best. Without giving away any personal information, leave a comment if you have any interesting stories or experiences with storage of precious metals so that others can learn from that experience. Thank you very much for watching. Ruben and I have tried a new style of video today and we really hope you enjoy it and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.